Hey everyone, welcome to X9. I'm Neo. I'm an aspiring space architect with a real background in architecture, just not space, at least not yet. I really want to take my love of science fiction and fantasy, but also actual science, environmental science, climate action, combine that with my current architectural design knowledge experience as a recent graduate from architecture program and do a little bit of learning in public. So I'm trying to brand this as I'm not claiming to be teaching this or an expert on any of the topics I'm going into. I am just kind of giving all a peek behind the curtain of what it looks like to self-teach oneself. The goal of X9 is since space architecture is something a lot of schools offer, at least not yet, I'm kind of using this channel as a sandbox design lab or question generator. It's going to be primarily self-taught. I've accrued a list of resources that I'll be reading, watching, consuming, and making my way through, including what's playing in the background right now is me taking notes from my first reading of Space Architecture, The New Frontier for Design Research. This is kind of a cool anthology of articles composed by quite a large and accredited editorial board, including Neil Leach, who does the first part of the book that the majority of these notes are going over. But also, I'll be using games as a simulation tool. For example, the first game that we'll probably be seeing tomorrow or whenever the next video is uploaded will be Surviving Mars from 2018. Um, I like the idea of mixing gameplay, sketching, a little bit of theorizing, some speculation, of course, real science. So in this channel, we'll be building bases on Mars, designing under alien oceans, probably forgetting to include an airlock or two. Um, Honestly, probably forgetting to include a lot of airlocks, more than I like to admit. But I'll be focusing on design challenges and design pressures, including air pressure, building for radiation, psychology, physiology, gravity, and logistics. I'll be tackling some big questions like how do we make space more accessible? What does a Martian city need? How do you make a base feel like home? Can a dome be both safe and beautiful? And a large part of it is that mistakes will happen. That's kind of the point. I'm a big fan of Cunningham's Law, or the idea of if you want to get information quickly, you have to be wrong about it in public or online specifically. So there's going to be a lot of moments where I'll do things incorrect or even produce an information or a fact that I thought was a fact that might not quite be a fact. And I hope to be held accountable for that. Don't be afraid to call me out because, again, I'm trying to learn here. But yeah, a big part of this is that games are fun, but they're also systems, and I think systems thinking is the real future of design. Games let us test, fail, iterate, and imagine in real time. So I want to be able to use some of these game engines that, of course, teams will be developing intentionally for us. I'm also trying to bring a little bit of notoriety and, I guess, advertising for some of these games. Um, Notably, I'm going to be trying to aim towards independent or indie games because I like to get their names out there a little bit more, especially since a lot of the games I'll be playing are going to be quote unquote older, as in not made this year. So it's cool to bring some oldies but goodies back up, and I'll also include a bit of a game review moments as well. But yeah, each of these games will also help us unpack some real space concepts. A lot of these games will have literal physics engines. So instead of me sitting trying to guess the physics, we'll see how each of these games tackle their own systems. And we'll bounce between games, revisit old ideas, apply new knowledge, redesign all the way. I think it's going to be really cool to play games early in our time together, but also come back to those games after we've done a good amount of quote unquote like proper learning or like academia or academic learning, and then go in and reflect on those same games. Since the goal here is that we'll be learning and advancing our knowledge, but since these games most of the time are going to be older, they're probably not going to be updated by the time we get to the next learning objective. So it'd be cool to see how what we came in with and how what we're going to ultimately have towards the end compare to these learning tools. But of course, a big part of this is that it's not a science channel. You can see from this kind of low-tech narration over me doing some notes on Photoshop that I'm not trying to claim to be a professional here. I'm not an expert. This isn't a how-to architecture course. and I'm not trying to act like I know everything. I'm here to figure it out with y'all. I love community learning as a concept, so I'm trying to live in it a little bit. So I'm trying to welcome not only people with similar backgrounds like engineers, artists, architects, gamers, sci-fi people, um, but ultimately, I'm trying to encourage anyone who wants to enter this for any amount, whether it's a hobby or an interest. I want to make the notion of space feel open and hackable. I don't want to gatekeep the idea of space architecture. But what to expect on this channel is that I'm hoping to post multiple times weekly, potentially daily, depending on how much content I get out. But ultimately, my goal is self-learning, of course. So not everything that I'll be self-learning will be super cool to upload as a video. But there will probably be a balance between things like games or sketch sessions or just kind of open discussions, explorations, breakdowns, and probably more of these kind of uh, I was going to say a talking head, but clearly there's not a head that's talking, just kind of these narrated annotations and reflection videos. But other than that, if you're curious about space, architecture, ecosystems, or just some cool sci-fi bases, feel free to hit subscribe and join the journey. I know I've got a lot to learn, probably a good amount to unlearn too. I encourage y'all to drop questions, weird ideas, design prompts. I built this curriculum without being an expert in it. And even though curriculum development is something that I do like doing, it's hard to develop a curriculum for something you've never done before. So I'd love to get some feedback or requests if you have any games I should try out or readings I should look into. And also, please, please, please don't be afraid to tell me when I'm doing something wrong. I'm here to be wrong, revise, and try again. I'm expecting a lot of error in this trial and error. But yeah, beyond that, thank you all so much and can't wait to see y'all for the next video.